On my wedding anniversary, my husband took me to a fancy dinner and handed me a gift box. Smiling, he said, "Open it, it's a surprise." I laughed, expecting jewelry. But inside was a stack of old letters. My hand shook as I read the first line, "To my dearest love. I'm sorry we couldn't run away together." My eyes darted to my husband, who sat smirking. "I thought you should finally know the truth," he whispered. When I reached the last page, I realized my entire marriage was built on a secret he had been hiding for years. I don't know how to start this or even why I'm writing it here, but I guess I just need someone to hear me. Last Friday was our 15th wedding anniversary. I've been with Mark since we were in our 20s. We met in a coffee shop in Lincoln Park, Chicago. It was one of those meet-cute moments. You spill your drink, someone helps you clean up, and somehow you end up married a few years later. We've had a mostly calm marriage. Not perfect, of course, but steady. The kind people look at and assume they've got it figured out. And I guess I believed that too, until 6 days ago. So for our anniversary, Mark told me to dress up. He had made reservations at a restaurant I'd always wanted to go to, ever, in West Loop. Super fancy place, not somewhere we'd usually splurge on unless it was something big. I got dressed, did my hair, even wore heels, which I usually avoid. I wanted to feel like I was going on a date again. Dinner was, honestly, really lovely. He was charming, affectionate. We talked about our first apartment, the time we drove to Wisconsin on a whim, how much our son looked like him at that age. I felt so seen that night. I remember thinking, we've made it. This is what people mean when they talk about growing old with someone. After dessert, he pulled out a small box, wrapped in silver paper. "I got you something," he said, smiling. Of course, I smiled back. I even joked, "If this is a bracelet, I swear I'm going to cry," because we had this ongoing thing about how he never got me jewelry even though I drop hints. So I opened it. It wasn't jewelry. Inside was a stack of old letters. Real letters. Yellowing paper, handwriting in blue ink, tied together with a thin ribbon. At first, I didn't get it. I just stared. I thought maybe they were from me? Or from his mom? Something sentimental? He just watched me, no expression on his face, which was weird. No teasing grin. No explanation. I picked up the first letter and opened it. The handwriting wasn't mine. The first line stopped my heart cold. "To my dearest love. I'm sorry we couldn't run away together." I must have stared at that line for a full minute. Then I looked at him. He didn't say anything. Just nodded at the letters like, "Go on." So I kept reading. Letter after letter. From someone named Sarah. The name didn't mean anything to me at first. But the words did. She loved him. Deeply. These letters weren't new either, they were dated from years ago. Some from 2007. Some 2011. 2014, they stretched out across the exact years we were building our life, raising our son, taking trips, buying our house. While I was doing all that, this woman had been writing to my husband like they were star-crossed lovers. I looked up from the fourth letter, completely numb, and asked, "Who is she?" He looked right at me and said, "I thought you should finally know the truth." Just like that. No apology. No preamble. No tears. I didn't even respond. I just opened the next letter. My hands were shaking. My eyes couldn't even process the words fast enough. She talked about nights they spent together. About how hard it was for her to sleep next to someone else knowing he was with her, me. I felt sick. And then I saw the one that changed everything. I waited at the train station like we planned. I had my bag packed. "I really thought you were going to leave her this time. But you never came." It was like my brain split into two realities. One, what I thought my life was, a solid, if sometimes imperfect, marriage. Two, What it apparently actually was, a carefully constructed lie that started way back and just kept going. I looked at Mark again and asked, when? He said nothing. When did it start? I asked again, louder this time. My voice was shaking now. People at nearby tables were starting to look. Before we got married, he said. Just like that. Like he was telling me the weather forecast. My whole chest went cold. Before we got married? I repeated, but it wasn't really a question. It was disbelief. Anger. Grief. All of it, wrapped up into one. He just nodded. It didn't mean what you think it meant. We were in a weird place. I thought I loved her. But she moved on. I stayed. I built a life with you. A weird place? Is that what people call being in love with someone else while asking another woman to marry them? I stood up so fast my chair knocked back into a waiter. I didn't care. I didn't even realize I was crying until the hostess came over and asked me if I was okay. I wasn't. I grabbed my purse, the letter still clutched in my hand, and walked out. I don't remember the Uber ride home. I don't even remember unlocking the front door. I just remember sitting in our living room, staring at those letters, rereading the same lines over and over until the words blurred together. My husband, the man I trusted, built a life with, raised a child with, had been in love with another woman during some of the most important years of our marriage. Maybe all of it. And he kept her letters. For 15 years. Hidden somewhere. All this time. And then, on our anniversary, he gave them to me. As a gift. I still don't understand what his end goal was. Guilt? Closure? To hurt me? He's staying at a hotel now. I told him I needed space. I haven't told our son anything yet. He's in college, and I can't drop this on him until I figure out what the hell I'm doing. I haven't even read all the letters yet. I don't know if I want to. I feel like my whole life was a lie. It's been 3 days since the dinner. Mark texted a few times, but I didn't respond. He left a voicemail yesterday morning saying he was ready to talk when I was. Like this was some normal couple disagreement. I haven't blocked him yet, because part of me needs to hear the truth straight from him, even if it destroys me. I finally got the courage to open the rest of the letters. That was a mistake. One of them, dated December 2014, started with, "I saw you again last night, even if it was only for an hour." It's never enough. It hurts to say goodbye every time. I wish you could just tell her and end it. They were still seeing each other during that year. That was the year our son had pneumonia and was hospitalized for a week. Mark had stayed with me in the hospital the entire time. Slept in a chair. Read to our boy. Held my hand. The same man who left the hospital at 10 p.m. some nights to grab things from home was probably meeting up with Sarah. And that wasn't even the worst part. There was one letter that had a return address. Evanston, Illinois. And there was a last name, Sarah Benton. I stared at that name for what felt like forever. Something about it made my stomach twist. So I did what any of you would have done. I Googled her. Her LinkedIn came up first. Nonprofit fundraising consultant. Works with youth shelters. Married. 2 kids. And then I saw her photo. I'd met her 3 years ago, at a local fundraiser for a children's reading program. She had shaken my hand. Said I looked familiar. Said she was so glad to finally meet Mark's wife. I remember smiling at her like a damn fool. I even told her I liked her earrings. I felt like vomiting. I clicked deeper. She was married. Her husband's name is Adam. A software engineer. I found their family holiday photo on Facebook. 2 kids. A dog. A house with a blue door in Evanston. A perfect little life. Just like mine was. Only, her life wasn't built on a lie. Hers was the lie. I was the one who had been lied to. And then something happened I wasn't ready for. I got an email. It was from a random Gmail address. No name. Subject line, "You don't know me, but I think you should." It was short. "I've known about you for years. I asked him to tell you. He never did. I gave him that box months ago. He told me he threw it away. I guess he didn't. I didn't want to be a secret anymore. I'm sorry. I truly am." It was signed, S. I reread that message so many times I could recite it by heart. She wasn't just some girl from his past he held on to emotionally. She was still involved. Up until at least a few months ago. I haven't replied. I don't know what I'd even say. But here's the twist I didn't see coming. This morning, a car pulled into the driveway. Not Mark's. A silver sedan. Out stepped a man, maybe early 40s. He rang the bell twice, holding something in his hand. I looked through the peephole and froze. He was holding a second box. I opened the door, just an inch. "Can I help you?" He looked at me, and the pain in his face hit me like a wave. "You're Claire, right?" he asked. I nodded slowly. "I'm Adam. Sarah's husband." I just stood there. He held out the box. "I think you should read what's in here too." I took it without a word. He didn't say anything else. He just walked back to his car and drove off. I haven't opened the box yet. I'm sitting here staring at it, trying to work up the courage. Because whatever's inside, it's going to be worse. I can feel it in my bones. I feel like I've stepped into someone else's life. Like I'm watching a movie about a woman who got blindsided by secrets she didn't ask for, from a man she thought she knew. I'll come back with more when I open the box. I opened the second box. It took me 2 hours to work up the nerve. I sat on the edge of the couch, turning it over in my hands. It was heavier than the first, and wrapped in plain brown paper. No ribbon. No sentiment. Inside were more letters. But these weren't from Sarah. They were from Mark. Letters to her. Dozens of them. Unsent. And I don't even know where to begin. The first one was dated 2005. "I can't stop thinking about you. Every time I lie next to her, I feel like a liar. But I can't leave yet. She's not strong enough." She. That was me. I didn't know what to do with that line. The next one made it worse. "Claire is pregnant. I'm going to be a father. I should be happy." She cried when she told me, and I held her like it was the best day of my life. But it felt like the worst. Because now I know I'll never leave her. That letter was written 2 weeks before we told our families I was pregnant with our son. I dropped the paper. My hands were shaking again. My chest felt like it was full of cement. I thought it couldn't get worse. But it did. I found one from 2017. That year we went to California for our anniversary. We walked along the beach in Monterey. Took pictures of each other eating fish tacos. It had been one of our best trips. At least, I thought it had. Here's what he wrote: "She thinks we're healing." That trip was her idea. I agreed to shut her up. But the only thing I kept picturing the whole time was you in that white dress. I still have the photo you sent me. You were going to wear that if we ran away. I still think about it. I stopped reading for a while after that. I just sat there. My heart didn't feel like it belonged in my body anymore. He never sent any of these letters. But he kept them. Hid them somewhere. He never stopped writing to her. And then I found something that completely cracked everything wide open. A printed email. Subject: Divorce lawyer recommendation. Date: July 2020. From Mark to Sarah, I spoke to the attorney today. If things go as planned, I can be out of the house by October. Claire won't see it coming. She still thinks we're rebuilding. I feel sick doing it this way, but you're right. She'll never let go unless she's blindsided. I don't know how to describe the feeling I had reading that. It's like every part of my life had been carefully staged. Every rebuilding talk, every counseling session, every dinner where he said, "We're making progress," it was all just performance. He planned to leave me. He was just waiting for the right time to break me down quietly. Only, he never did. He stayed. I don't know why. I flipped through more papers, desperate for something, anything, that would explain what made him change his mind. And then I found the last letter in the box. No date. Just scribbled handwriting, almost illegible in places. Like he wrote it in a rush, or in some kind of breakdown. I saw her at the store today. She didn't see me. She was with her daughter. I watched them pick out cereal and laugh. That should have been me. But I stayed with Claire. I thought it would make it easier. It didn't. I lost both of you. She doesn't want me anymore. Claire never did. Not really. I've been floating. Existing. I don't know who I am without the lies. I just wanted someone to want me back. That last line hit me the hardest. I just wanted someone to want me back. It was pathetic. And tragic. And honestly, infuriating. He painted himself as a victim in all this. Like he was just some lost soul caught between two women. But I wasn't a part of his fantasy. I was a real person. His wife. The mother of his child. The woman who planned anniversaries, packed his lunches, stayed up with him during panic attacks, and still kissed his forehead in the mornings. But the twist that truly shattered me came from something outside that box. Tonight, while I was in the kitchen trying to drink water and not collapse, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't know. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listened. It was Sarah. Her voice was calm, but there was a tremble in it. She said, "Claire, I know you probably hate me. You should. But I need to tell you something you don't know. Something Mark doesn't know either. I didn't send that first box to him. I sent it to you. I mailed it to your address 6 months ago. I don't know how he got it before you did, but clearly he kept it. And there's something else. I'm not just some woman he had an affair with. I knew him before you did. We were engaged. He broke it off the month he met you. Said he couldn't deal with the pressure. Said he wasn't ready. I thought I'd never see him again. Until I ran into him a year later. When you were already together. And he told me, you didn't know about us at all, click. I haven't moved from this spot since I heard that voicemail. She was engaged to him. Before me. I was the new girl he jumped to when he couldn't handle the relationship he already had. And she took him back when he came crawling back a year later? How long has he been living this double life? How many lies am I still going to find? I don't have answers yet. But I'm starting to think maybe he doesn't either. I'll be back when I know what I'm doing next. For now, I need to breathe again. I waited 2 more days before I told Mark to come home. I needed that time. Not to calm down, because let's be honest, I wasn't going to calm down. But I needed to get my head clear. I needed to know exactly what I wanted to say before I saw his face again. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to end this chapter on my terms. He came through the door like a man walking into a courtroom. Quiet. Careful. Trying to read the room. I was in the living room, sitting on the couch. The first box was on the coffee table. The second box, too. And next to them was a single envelope. Sit, I told him. He did. We sat there in silence for a moment. You could hear the clock ticking in the hallway. He looked at the boxes, then back at me. I guess you read everything, he said. You guess? He looked away. I leaned forward. You lied to me. For 15 years, you lied. You let me believe we had something real while you were writing love letters to a woman who called you the love of her life. She wasn't, don't say she wasn't, I snapped. I read what you wrote. I saw what she wrote. I saw the email about the divorce lawyer, Mark. I know everything. He swallowed hard. I was going to leave. I know. She told me. That shook him. He blinked. You talked to her? She left me a voicemail. Said you were engaged before you met me. That you never told me the truth about that either. That when you came back into her life, you told her I was fragile. That I wouldn't survive being left. I didn't say, he started. I don't care, I said. You've said enough. For 15 years you said all the right things and none of them were true. He put his head in his hands. I didn't mean to hurt you. That's the thing, I said, voice shaking now. You did hurt me. Every time you kissed me goodnight with her name in your head. Every time you took our son to school while planning a secret life. Every single time you let me believe we were working things out, and all along you were just waiting. Like a coward. Waiting for someone else to make your decision for you. Tears started falling down his face. But I didn't feel sorry. Not anymore. You stayed, I said. You stayed, not because you loved me, but because she moved on. Because you had no one else. You let me build our life on lies because you were too afraid to be alone. He didn't deny it. He just sat there, broken, small. Like a man who had finally seen himself for who he really was. I slid the envelope toward him. What's this? He asked. Divorce papers. I spoke to a lawyer. I'm not going to be the backup plan anymore. He nodded slowly. His hands trembled as he picked up the envelope. Just then, the door opened. It was our son. He'd come home from college to surprise us. He still didn't know. Hey, he started, before he saw our faces, the boxes, the tears. He looked from me to Mark. What's going on? Mark opened his mouth to speak, but I stood up. I'll tell him, I said. Not today. But soon. Mark looked at our son like he might fall apart right there. Dad, our son asked, confused. But Mark didn't say anything. He just picked up the envelope and walked out the door without a word. That night, I sat with my son. I told him what I could, without crushing him. I told him his dad had been unfaithful. That he had lied for a long time. That I was leaving, not because I didn't love him anymore, but because I finally loved myself enough to stop pretending everything was fine. He cried. And then he hugged me. I always thought something felt off, he said. I just didn't know what it was. It's been 3 weeks now. The divorce is in process. Mark hasn't fought it. We haven't spoken since. I got one long email from him, something between an apology and a breakdown. I didn't reply. I read it once, then deleted it. Sarah sent another message. I didn't answer that either. I don't want anything to do with her. She made her choices, just like he did. I've started therapy. My son visits every weekend. We've started cooking dinner together again. Small things. Little rituals. And sometimes, when the house is quiet, I still think about those letters. I still wonder who I was married to for 15 years. Who I thought I loved. I look at pictures from our vacations and birthdays and I wonder, was that smile real? Was anything real? But I'm learning that healing doesn't mean having all the answers. It means accepting that you might never get them. And still choosing to move forward. People always say betrayal is like a knife in the back. But it's more like drowning. You don't even know you're underwater until you're gasping for air. I didn't deserve what happened. But I also don't deserve to carry it forever. So I'm not. I'm choosing peace. I'm choosing truth. And maybe, someday, I'll choose love again. But this time it will be with eyes wide open.